going on, America? I got a stretch for this one. Okay, let me stretch, make sure I'm nice and loose before I go off on these two idiots who are on CNN and are on MSNBC. Dr. Jason Johnson, I think, this black commentator or contributor on MSNBC, and then Jeffrey Toobin, or Toobin, however he pronounces it, on CNN. Now see, it's crap like this that gives journalism a bad name. When you allow people to get on TV and spread this type of propaganda and rhetoric and don't push back at all, just let it roll right off the tongue. Now, I always talk about information operations and disinformation. I always talk about, gaslighting, things like that. And what that is when you throw out statements that are reckless, wild, and filled with nothing but propaganda, and then nobody checks you on it, and it appears as if this is a fact. Like you are in the mind of the president or whoever you throw the accusation out about. So they put this guy, Jason Johnson, on to talk about the situation in Saudi Arabia. And we know that most likely this journalist was killed by the Saudis. And if we be honest, there are a lot of countries that we are cool with that probably do a lot of dirty stuff, but it ain't got nothing to do with us. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that we should ever turn a deaf ear or look away from such atrocities and things like that happen, but a politician has to also be a chess player, okay? Because every single country on the planet is a chess piece. Some of them are on your squad and some of them ain't. And you have to figure out what pieces to move at the right time to accomplish your goal and objective of protecting the king, which is America, and the queen, which, let's just say for now, is us, the people. All right? So you look at Saudi Arabia and how fragile this situation is. Now, what they're trying to do is use this for political reasons, instead of recognizing how fragile the relationship is between us and Saudi Arabia and the importance that Saudi Arabia plays strategically for America. When it comes down to the Middle East, dealing with Iran, dealing with Russia, dealing with terrorism, all of these things, it plays a very pivotal point or part in our economy, in our foreign policies, and our ability to war against terrorism, and our ability to keep Russia at bay, keep Iran at bay. There's a lot of other factors that got to be taken in consideration before they try to push the president to overcommit and do something reckless beyond measure. So if we find out that this guy is guilty, then, we do what we have to do, but it has to be measured and it has to be wise. They want him to overcommit and do something seriously crazy and jeopardize that relationship. And then guess who probably would step right in, fill the void? Russia or somebody else. And then the same people will be like, he sat back and just let Russia come in and take over the relationship with the Saudis, and now we don't even have a presence in the Middle East. See, these same people, they like to push people to commit political suicide, but at our expense. It's kind of like how Trump did Pocahontas. He kept poking Pocahontas until Pocahontas finally was like, that's it, I'm going to get a DNA test, and she ended up committing political suicide. Well, the Democrats, they play that game too. They're going, why don't you do something, Trump? What you gonna do? You just gonna let this go? Why don't you do something? Now, at the end of the day, as sad as it might be, the importance of the nation and the masses in almost every application will outweigh the few. There are choices sometimes that have to be made in the interest of the masses versus the few. I'm able to understand that, okay? Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything, but we got to be careful. But I'm also a realist. If I was on a plane that was about to destroy a whole bunch of people, and the government said, you know what, we could either shoot down this plane that might kill 150, or we're going to lose 1 million. I'm man enough to understand the situation. I might do everything I can to stop the plane, but at the end of the day, if I know that this is going to result in killing 1 million people, I understand that the government will do what they need to do, and that will be my sacrifice unto America. There you go, y'all. I took one for the team. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, you know what, Trump? This could lead to a bigger mess in the Middle East if we just completely destroy this relationship based on this being antagonized by the left, and it might end up resulting in something greater than what we anticipated. That's all I'm saying. So we got to tread carefully. But when you get people like Jason Johnson, who comes out, and instead of saying, you know what, the president has to wait for evidence, he has to be measured in his response, he has to be wise in his approach, and bringing out all of the factors dealing with our relationship with Saudi Arabia, this man has the nerve to come out and say the president is in the pocket of all dictators because he likes the fact that they're allowed to kill journalists, and you know, these are things that he admires about these dictators. Okay, do you see the propaganda in that type of statement? He admires the type of dictators that kill journalists because basically what he's saying is Trump would love to do this here, but he can't. Now see, here's the crazy part about this. Then he goes on to say, and here's a president that's already declared war on the media, and he, you know, he wouldn't have responded the same way and so casually if it was an American-born journalist and a journalist that wasn't of color. Now, there you go. He threw in a whole bunch of stuff. He brought in the dictator narrative, okay? He brought in the nationalist, the white nationalist narrative by him saying if he was an American-born journalist. Then he brought in, of course, you got to top that off, put the cherry on top with a little bit of racism, okay? He brought the racism cherry and put it right on top. So basically, what he did in that statement that was not checked by MSNBC is said that our president is a dictator, white nationalist, racist, and he admires other dictators who kill journalists. You see what I'm saying? You see, it's crap like this that gives journalism a bad name, and it's stupid stuff like this that makes most practical thinking people feel exactly like the president feels when he says the fake news is the enemy of the people. Why would you say something dumb like that? And you're a doctor. That DR in front of your name doesn't make you intelligent, man. You just threw out some garbage like this, and two impressionable people, they walk away believing this garbage. That is the worst bit of journalist integrity, commentator integrity, professional integrity that I've ever heard in my life. Talking about he admires dictators who are able to kill journalists. And the bad part is MSNBC let him get away with it and probably will bring him back on. Then you got Jeffrey Corbin or Corbin or whatever his name is. This knucklehead had the nerve to get on TV and say, maybe have you ever considered that we're looking at this all wrong? That maybe the masses or his base who he's talking to are the majority, that maybe more people in America are racist and sexist than we thought. That's his go-to. Basically, if somehow the Democrats get their butts beat in November, it's probably because we underestimated the level of racism and sexism in America. We, out of all these years, how far we have come when it comes down to race issues, gender issues, all of those things, we now are getting an awakening. We're now discovering, whoa, you mean to tell me over half of America is racist and sexist, even including all of the women who voted for President Trump are also sexist too? And even all of the black people who voted for Trump, they're racist? Or what about all the white people who voted for Donald Trump, but then in the past voted for Barack Obama? Now all of a sudden they just switched the tune. They're racist now? See, it's crap like this that gives journalism a bad name. But guess what? Nobody checked this man. Nobody said, dude, that doesn't make sense. You sound crazy. What you're doing is you're pushing propaganda and you're throwing out statements that are going to further divide the country and push narratives that are not true. That's all they're doing. So, to CNN and MSNBC, The fake news networks, stop whining when people declare you to be fake news. When you let people get on there and speak for the president, because I guess he's in his brain, Donald Trump admires, dictators that kill journalists, or speak for Americans, getting on CNN talking about maybe more than half of Americans are racist and sexist. Maybe we underestimated the level of evil. No, we underestimated the level of evil in the fake news media. That's what we did. And we see it every single day when they open their mouths. Anyway, you've been listening to Kevin and Kevin's Corner. I had to rant about that. I saw those 2 clips and I said, you got to be kidding me. They just gonna let these cats get up there and talk reckless like that? That don't make no sense. Even the white dog of privilege understand that's crazy. And the dog of color too. They have now united and they friends. All right, no longer are they divisive. No longer are they fighting against each other. They come to realize that they all just one species, okay? White dog, brown dog, they still dogs. That's how I raised mine. Ain't that right, Caesar? Come here, Caesar. Come here. Come here. Yeah. You're not racist, are you? Come here. Let's get an interview. Caesar, how do you feel about racism? Racism is wrong. I mean, it's horrible. And every time I watch the fake news networks, I get more discouraged as a dog. They're really dividing the animal kingdom with all of this race baiting. I don't even want to talk about it. I can't even look at the camera when I speak about CNN or MSNBC. Now let's check with the dog of color. Sammy! Come here, Sammy! Come here! So, Sammy, how do you feel about racism? Sammy, get over here. I'm talking to you. How do you feel about all this racism and stuff that's going on and this race baiting?
Yeah, man. The way I feel about it is awful. If I ever see Don Lemon, I'm going to put my paw so far up his butt that people are going to see my toenails sticking out of his mouth. They're going to think my toenails is his teeth. That's how far I'm going to put my paw up his butt. You see this face? This face look like I'm joking? This face is the face of a grown man. So Don Lemon, I'm looking for you, man. I'm looking for you. Better not come in my neighborhood or I'm going to pee on you.
Harsh words from the dog of color. Anyway, find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter. Check me out Wednesday nights, 7:30, Kevin's Corner. Also hit the notification button, subscribe, share this video, and check out my my sponsor, Extreme Tees. The link is in the bottom. If you want to support Kevin and Kevin's Corner, there's a link in the bottom to do that as well. God bless you. See you next time in Kevin's Corner. Okay, come on, white dog of privilege and dog of color.